We're heading up to 10 minutes to 8 o'clock here on the South African morning. We all know how annoying the blackouts are, but have you ever stopped to think what the financial implications of these regular blackouts are and what the effects are like for businesses? Well, the Ethekwini Municipality says it loses more than R1 million each time the electricity is going off. The country, of course, experiencing rolling blackouts in the past week due to unit breakdowns at Eskom. A reminder, in case you've just woken up, there was blackouts for last night from 9 a.m., but it was suspended at 5 a.m. this morning. That's just in case you've woken up. So let's find out what kind of effect this has on infrastructure down in Durban. Head of Electricity at the Ethekwini Municipality, Mr. Maxwell Mthembu, joining us. Maxwell, good morning to you. So let's talk infrastructure first. No power equals no money coming in, but more importantly, damage to infrastructure. How bad has it been?
Good morning to you and all the viewers in South Africa. To answer your question, it is really very bad in our infrastructure. At the moment, we're just focusing only on the financial side, but if you look at the infrastructure, every time you make it to operate or the breaker to operate, after 4 or 5 times of that operation, you have to go and maintain it. That means now we have a huge backlog on maintenance simply because of the switching on and switching off of the power, which no one in the country actually is being able to catch up with. So as Ethekwini, we are also suffering in the same way. We are also behind when it comes to that. It's all because of the load shedding that we are all being forced to comply with simply because of the conditions we find ourselves in the country.
So essentially what you're telling us is that we're all stuck between a rock and a hard place because the power keeps going out, we're told, because of lack of maintenance and damage to infrastructure. The continuous power cuts is resulting in more damage and lack of maintenance for the infrastructure. We're stuck in this little infinite loop, are we? We can't get out of this mess.
Yes, it's true. One thing that you need to understand, whether it's Eskom or it is the municipalities or any other metro, is the same. All the infrastructure or all our assets have got grudges. If you recall, Eskom some years back, they went to Parliament and asked to get some funding to invest in the infrastructure and the power stations, and they were not allowed to do so. Now we're reaping all the fruits of all what happened in the country before. So now I'm saying the networks, all the networks, they bear grudges. Even the networks in Eskom, they're bearing grudges and they're showing us now that there are grudges. Similarly, now that we're not doing maintenance in our own now lesser infrastructure in the distribution network, again, that network is going to show some grudges later on in life. We're going to reap more consequences as a result of this load shedding. But let's not forget how it began, this whole problem.
And where did it start? Where did it start? Where was the whole problem starting?
It was in 2007, 2008, when Eskom asked for additional funding to invest on a power station so that they can be able to have more capacity. And for some strange reasons, the cabinet did not allow them to do so. So that is where we are. Well, because they could not invest in building new power stations.
Some would say it's not that strange a reason. Some would say that we have an economy that's been on a downturn for a very, very long time now. There simply isn't money to give to Eskom every time they want it. Some could argue that. Maxwell?
Yeah, it's true, they can argue that, but Eskom was also even looking at possibility of going and getting the loans from international funders, but they were not allowed simply because no one could see the problem. This is a situation we find ourselves in South Africa. Whether it's auditors or it's just people are dealing with finance, as long as there's light coming through, there's no problem. Whether it's politicians, as long as there's lights going through, to them it's okay, there's no problem. Until the light doesn't come through, then they know there's a problem. So similar with Eskom, all the people who were in power at the time, all the people who were regulating Eskom at the time, they saw the light coming through, no problem. So Eskom then was jeopardized because of that same fact. We also got through the same. When we asked for additional money to invest on our maintenance in our network, we are told there's no problem, the lights are on. And they're right, the lights are on. Yeah. Because we can make a plan as engineers and make sure the lights are on, then people think there's no problem. Again, let me go back to my previous statement. The network will bear a grudge. It will show later on why we did not invest on it. Now it's retaliating to us.
Last question to you. How bad do you foresee this getting if Eskom doesn't get the money to help with the infrastructure? What's the worst case scenario in the mind of Maxwell?
Okay, look, if Eskom does not get the money to invest more in that infrastructure, that means we're in this crisis for as long as we live, until someone invests on the network or until someone else becomes an alternative to Eskom and give us this supply. we are going to be forever be in this crisis. But coming back to the original question that you asked about how much we are losing in Ethekwini because of load shedding, the answer is going to be simple here. We are buying, let's say we're taking a scenario where we're dealing with stage 1. On stage 1, Ethekwini loses 72 megawatts. Then we can't buy from Eskom. That means we can't also sell. We buy roughly about R1.15 per kilowatt hour in Eskom. So if I lose 72 megawatts, I'm losing far much more. Then I'm selling at a double amount of that. I'm selling at R2.10. So now, if I'm looking at my loss, I'm losing really what I could not buy minus what I could not sell.
Yeah.
So in other words, I'm losing almost the same amount of money. To say 1 million a day is a very, very consecutive figure. It's far bigger than that.
Yeah, many people were saying it is quite a conservative figure. It actually could be running into the tens of millions every time the power goes out. Maxwell, I'm going to say goodbye to you for the moment. I think you've given us a very, very good idea, Maxwell, as to just how bad the situation is. My thanks to Maxwell Mthembu from the Ethekwini Municipality, Tumza, just how bad it is. It's almost this case of there's money needed for infrastructure to keep the lights on. When the lights go off, though, we lose the money to get the infrastructure up and running to keep the lights on. I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of rock and a hard place we find ourselves in at the moment.
Yeah, and it's not just the Ethekwini Municipality. I mean, it's around the country, I can imagine. When there were blackouts, I was in Campus Square in Auckland Park, and it was sad to see businesses closed because they just couldn't trade. So you can imagine the economical effect, around the country due to this. But you know what? Let's ask you about